right, so let's do this. I want to debut a new segment. It is called Don't Sleep. Thank you, Mr. Curry, for giving us yet another reason to use your celebration. So, Perk, this is how this is going to work. Wake up, sir. If there is one player that you do not want people to sleep on this season, who is it and why?
Every day I come on here, I got to prove my love. Listen, it's Trae Young. We have to prove every single season. He has to come into the season proving his love, right? We're talking about a player that led the league last year in total points and total assists. And when you look at the additions that he have around him, not only is Trae Young going to still be dangerous, but the Atlanta Hawks are going to be dangerous. I got them projected making the postseason next year, meaning that they will be a top 5 team in the Eastern Conference. I just love the pieces that they have around them. I love the addition of Murray. You have a two-way player, DeAndre Hunter, and then you have Collins, who is now starting to stretch his game for us on the offensive end for the spacing to shoot the three-point shot. And then you have everything that you want in a defensive-minded center and Clint Capella. Don't sleep on Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks. Got it. Don't sleep on Trae Young. Not to mention he may have that new dad superpower that we've seen come to fruition in the NBA. Zach, do you think that the Hawks are a play-in or a playoff team?
Borderline of those two things, but Perk, I don't think anyone is sleeping on Trae Young. I think we're wide awake. Trae Young made All-NBA last year. Everyone knows how good Trae Young is, but the East is loaded. You got Milwaukee, Philly, Boston, whatever the hell the Brooklyn Nets are. I think they're still a basketball team. If they are, they're pretty good. Toronto's going to be good. Chicago's up there. Cleveland's up there. Making the playoffs is no joke in the East. So I think the Hawks are right in that sort of 5 to 8 group. If they don't make the play-in, that's a disaster. But the playoffs are no guarantee.
Okay, so don't sleep on Trae Young. Got it. Zach, if there's one team that you don't want people to sleep on, so we did player, team that you don't want people to sleep on this season, who is that and why?
We spend so much time on this show talking about the Lakers, talking about the Dunder Mifflin Brooklyn Nets, who exist only on paper and not as a real basketball team. Yeah. Talking about the Clippers are back. The Warriors just won the title. Don't forget the Denver Nuggets, who get Jamal Murray back, get Michael Porter Jr. back. This was a conference finals team in the bubble. They have the 2-time MVP. When they got Aaron Gordon via trade 2 seasons ago, they destroyed everything that was in front of them until Jamal Murray tore his ACL. ACL injuries, guys recover from those. It might take Jamal Murray half the season to get back to form. Michael Porter Jr., back injuries are a little bit scary. Put him up as an if. But if he's an if that ends up being a 20 to 25 point scorer, a 6'10 unblockable shooter, the Nuggets are in business in the inner circle of championship contenders, and we never talk about them. We are sleeping on them.
Oh, all right. Perk, what do you think the ceiling is? What do you expect from Jamal Murray this year?
You know what? I expect big things. The last time, that we saw Jamal Murray at his best was in the bubble, in my opinion. I think being away from the game of basketball, and although it was due to injury, you missed the game. And a guy like Jamal Murray, who's a pure hooper, you can't keep him away from the game that long. I think he's going to come back healthy. He had more than enough time to rest. And I think he's going to come back playing as an all-star caliber guard. Because just remember, throughout the regular season, Jamal Murray in his short stint for his career, he hasn't really looked good in the regular season. He always turned it up in the postseason, but I expect us to see an all-star version, 22 points a game a night, maybe 25, around that range, Jamal Murray. So I expect big things from him.
Well, not to mention, you said he's had plenty of time to recover. When I was chatting with Michael Malone in the playoffs last year, remember, there was a question of whether or not he was going to come back for those playoffs. That's how physically healthy he was at that point. He just needed a little bit more time to get his mentals right, make sure to get incredibly strong. He's had an extra several months to do that now. So that could be scary. But I want to play this game too, because I want to stay in the same conference, but who is the team, Zach, that didn't make the playoffs last year, but has a coach that, by all accounts, is top 3 in the league. Who's the team that got bounced from the play-in last season, but could easily win their conference this year? I'm going to answer my own question. It is the Clippers. I mean, a healthy Paul George, a healthy Kawhi Leonard, a healthy John Wall, all back with something to prove. Perk, are you sleeping on the Clippers?
No, actually, Malika, they're actually my favorite to win it all this season, to be honest with you. And I'm right there with you. I'm not sleeping. I'm actually wide awake on the Clippers. They're my favorite.
All right, so Perk's alarm went off. Zach, did yours?
Oh, I'm like 6 cups of coffee in on the Clippers. I'm running around the room with my eyes wide open. The Clippers have like 15 good NBA players. Kawhi's back, PG's back. If you want to anoint them the championship favorites, that's hard to argue. It's they're right there. Clippers, Warriors, Bucks, Celtics. I mean, I think those start the season as the 4 best teams in the league.
I absolutely agree. And when we're looking at the way, it's hard for me to say, well, I'm going to give the nod. I explained this last year. I think if someone is coming off a championship, if they have the health and the similar roster and the mindset that we know that the Golden State Warriors do, we have to give them the nod, just like we did to the Bucks the year before. But the Clippers, I would not be surprised at all if they are the team that winds up representing the West.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.